Thank you very much. I'm hoping you can all see my slides. And I'm talking on behalf of the SOOS Data Management Subcommittee, of whom I think I've seen in the participants 3 of our current and former co-chairs. And I want to talk about, to celebrate some of what we've achieved in the last decade. And I thought I would start by looking at that original goal from the Rintoul et al. Strategy that Ed discussed earlier. And from that, we pulled out, there were 6 things we wanted to achieve. We wanted to provide open access to SOOS data. We wanted to establish a SOOS data portal. We wanted to use existing data centres where possible, improve access to and the quality of historical data, foster a culture of good data management practices, and establish protocols for data management. And I think we've done quite a lot on all of those goals in the last decade. And I'd like to pull out a few of those. But the first thing is that original plan missed the most crucial thing from my perspective. This is a photo from last year's DMSC meeting. Obviously not quite as in-person and as fun as they usually are, but nothing we have done could have happened without the network we've built. And across all of SOOS's activities, it's the network of people who are talking to each other, discussing, solving problems together, and sharing the lessons from their own communities that makes the difference. And what we found in the DMSC is what makes SOOS interesting is we're a small community, but we cut across the broader international science community in an interesting way. We get people from lots of different continents and lots of different countries. We get people from lots of different scientific disciplines and different kinds of data management into a room where they can share lessons. So if I turn up to European data sessions, I see lots of the same people at those. If I turn up to American ones, I see lots of the same people at those. And the SOOS community cuts across all of them. So we make an amazing team, and I'm really proud of everything that the SOOS data community has achieved. When we look at that original plan, it said, make a SOOS data portal. And we went, well, maybe we'll just make 2 instead. So we have SOOS Map, our beautiful portal of well-curated, internationally standardized data sets that's being provided for us by eModNet, and that we're slowly, piece by piece, adding more and more data sets into. And we have a metadata portal, which helps us get access to that much wilder and less tamed long tail of data. And I started trying to add up how many data centers get pulled into the SOOS metadata portal, and I stopped counting at several hundred. So we're pulling data from a lot of places and making it much more available. There's a lot of work to do in the next decade to help both of these approaches. The idea of a map-based data portal that allows direct access to select just the data you want from subsets of aggregated wholes, and that metadata portal to get to that much wilder collection of things. There's a lot of work to do to get both of those cleaned up, and both of them doing all of the things we want them to do. But we've made such a huge start. And I wanted to talk a little about, I'm hoping if I can just convince this, to give a sense of how big the problem is and how big the challenge is that we've taken on. And so one of the things that Rintoul et al. Strategy asked for was for us to use existing data centres where possible. And Polder, one of our task teams, sat down a couple of years ago and tried to find the key data centres that hold Southern Ocean and Antarctic and Arctic relevant data. And here's our list of Southern Ocean ones. You're not meant to be able to read them all. There's no way I could fit them all on a slide in a way that you can read them all. I think we've hit 55 in that list. At the moment, if you wanted to go and do a comprehensive search for all of the data that might exist, you'd have to go and search 55 of them individually. Some of them are harvesting from each other, and we're getting increasingly a better idea of who's harvesting what from whom and what protocols they're using. And we're building some best practice ideas about how we might put all that into a single search portal. But we've made a huge step along the way, and importantly, there is not a SOOS data repository. We haven't added to the complexity by making yet another place that people can house their data. We're building on the massive efforts that have happened around the world to improve the way data is stored and curated and shared. And we're hoping to help cut through some of that complexity in the next decade. One of the other things we were asked to achieve was also to foster a culture of good data management practices. And I think we've gone a long way towards doing that. We wrote a SOOS data policy back in 2015. In the last couple of years, we've been working with the Arctic and Antarctic data communities to write some best practice recommendations for what a data policy should look like, and that will be reflected in the updated SOOS data policy soon. Several of our members contributed to the Ocean Fair Data Services paper that was part of Ocean Obs 2019. And we have a number of projects that have happened over the years, some of them really small, some of them larger, where we've helped science communities in our region find better ways to manage their data. We found homes for data to be stored in. We've got the SOOS mooring network, where we've just started trying to collate the metadata on what moorings went in the water, where and when they came out, and where the data might have landed. And so far we found 800 moorings as part of that project. And at least we now know where the data have gone, even if we haven't got it all cleaned up and tidied together. So there's a whole bunch of conversations that are happening and some really nice collaborations between scientists and professional data managers that are piece by piece, corner by corner, cleaning up and coordinating and tidying together a lot of the data that does exist, so that future efforts can concentrate on filling genuine gaps in observing, rather than gaps that are caused by us not quite connecting our systems together. Come on, here we go. And the activities of the SOOS Data Committee have gone beyond managing just data and metadata about data. We're also done a huge amount of work to bring together logistical information. Due South, our database of upcoming expeditions to the Southern Ocean, answered a problem that scientists have had for a very long time, which is, I need to get these observations made. I need to get some kit in the water. I need to find some way of getting to a place. And I have no idea, outside of my own personal networks, who's going where and what they're doing and how we might get hold of them. And so we developed Due South. And when I say we, the Australian Antarctic Data Centre built that for us. And last year, the European Polar Board very kindly agreed to take over the hosting of it. I have a sneak preview about this to show you at the end of my presentation. And one of the things that we found this is really useful for is for explaining to people, not just for actual planning of expeditions, but explaining to people where the observing gaps might be and where the potential for sharing logistics might be. So it's at that really broad meta planning level. And that wasn't something we expected when we first started trying to develop this. And here I have my sneak preview because I want to rush to the end. Polardex is the new thing that's being built by European Polar Board, and it will include Due South. This is very much the beta version that we're playing with in the background, and I got permission last night to show you a picture of it. It will integrate Due South's information on expeditions and projects with the EPB's databases on vessels, aircraft and research stations. So when we say this expedition is happening with the James Clark Ross, then you can click through to all the details about what the James Clark Ross is capable of doing. So you can say, is that vessel on that expedition useful to me? So we're hoping by working together with a whole group of other coordination groups that are trying to share this kind of logistical information, we can make that much more useful for you. And I've hidden in the bottom corner there, because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show you. So you're not allowed to tell Antonio Novellino from eModNet that I've shown it to you. We also have a sneak preview of the new SOOS map interface, which is going to be cleaner and faster and properly integrate the SOOS data layers with the eModNet physics ones. And that both of these things are in development, and we will have a soft launch as soon as the developers have ironed out the bugs in the software. So I just wanted to give you a little sense of where things are going, because the Data Management Committee has not finished yet. We've got a huge amount still to do, and I wanted to celebrate everything that we have achieved so far and everything that's still to come. Thank you.